I was not able to get an offer from the college itself. And then I got my first offer in TCS as an assistant system engineer. My first salary was 17,000 per month. We landed up like in Sweden in March. Definitely it was very challenging, and it was frustrating as well. Be very clear about it, and this is going to be very challenging. See, this is the new country and I don't know the people. I don't know like how the interview process goes and like how the interview will go, whether they will be considering me, because I had zero experience in data engineering. I had no clue.
Imagine you have moved from India to abroad without having a job and you are dreaming to crack a good company with a high paying salary. Then imagine how challenging and difficult that would be to get your first interview call in that country. So if you are someone who is hunting the data engineering job opportunities in the abroad, then you must know the ground realities and the harsh truth about it as well, because our guest speaker made it possible and cracked the high paying senior data engineer job opportunity in Sweden. So watch this podcast till the very end, because he will talk about every single thing he has experienced regarding the difficulties, challenges, interview pattern, how to fit your resume, the projects, the skill set, and how companies in abroad take the interviews of the candidates, their expectation in each round, what happens, and many other important things he will discuss in this podcast. So make sure you don't miss any information and share this video as much as you can and like it in the big numbers for the better reach. And I'm super proud to tell you that our guest speaker Shekhar was the part of my first ever data engineering bootcamp on GrowDataSkills platform, and he was the one who got the first job offer in my very first data engineering bootcamp itself. After becoming the part of data engineering bootcamp, he upskilled himself in the latest tech stack of data engineering like SQL, Hadoop, Hive, MongoDB, Cassandra, Airflow, Kafka, GCP, AWS, data warehousing, data modeling, and that too everything in just 3 months in the live classroom environment. And he was very consistent throughout the bootcamp, so really hats off to him. And specifically more than 5 industry plus projects which we did in the bootcamp was the deal breaker. So if you also have a similar kind of passion and dreams, and you are looking for something very affordable and industry enriched content, then GrowDataSkills is the one-stop solution for you. We have different tracks like data engineering, data analytics, data science, Python, SQL, and most specifically the live class oriented bootcamps plus the self-paced as well. So you can visit www.growdataskills.com. Link has also been given in the description. And I'm super excited to announce that if you know little bit of data engineering but you want to excel yourself in cloud, specifically the AWS, which is very demanding, so I am going to launch a AWS data engineering bootcamp where in just 1.5 months we will be learning every single AWS service which data engineers use to create scalable data pipelines. We will be working on live industry level projects, more than 5, and everything will be a really good add-on for you. So if you want to become an AWS data engineer and want to learn everything in the live classroom environment, then I have given a Google form link in the description. Fill that out, because as soon as we launch this bootcamp, we will notify you at the earliest, because this is going to be for very limited number of people. Hence, it will be based on first in, first serve. So make sure to do it very, very quickly, and it will be launched very soon. All right. So thank you so much, Shekhar, for joining me in this podcast. Really excited to have you. We are going to discuss a lot of things today. So why not to give you a short introduction to the audience? Anything you want to talk about, your past background and current background?
Hello everyone, this is Shekhar and I did my BTech in Electronics and Communications from Birla Institute of Applied Sciences in Nainital in 2015. So back then, like right now, I'm working as a data engineer, senior data engineer in Daniel Wellington in Stockholm head office right now in Sweden. And before this, like my major opportunity was in Noida, where I was working for one of the product based company in Noida, Bolt Technologies, where I was working as a BI engineer basically.
Share something about your college life. Like let's start from the very beginning. As a student, right, you let's say passed out from the college. What was your stream? What happened after the college? Like what did you plan? What was your first job, first salary? So Just
Yeah.
throw some light on that.
Yeah, definitely. That would be very interesting. So, yeah, so I passed out in like 2015 and did my graduation BTech in electronics and communication. So, due to multiple reasons, so I was not able to get an offer from the college itself. And since I was from the like electronics and communication, so there were not that lot of opportunities in that core field. So, eventually, I choose to be in like IT field only. So, I was looking for some things that I could learn and like apply for the job. So eventually the only option left for me to grab some knowledge and apply for some offline off campus drive. So eventually I end up giving interview in the TCS like after 6 months passing out from my college. And then I got my first offer in TCS as an assistant system engineer. So I did a training for 3 months there in Chennai, and then I joined back in TCS office in 2016 March, where my first salary was 17,000 per month. So
During
yeah,
training period.
yeah. So eventually that was increased to like 24K a month after 3-4 months. So yeah, it was my first salary.
As you said, you joined as a system engineer, and in TCS, right, this is a common job profile they give mostly to all of them. So for you, what was the entry point into the data domain itself? I'm not asking about data
Yeah.
engineering. When was the time you got to know about big data, and then slowly, gradually you figured out, yes, this seems interesting. Maybe I can look forward to it and may pursue my career into the data domain itself. So how did it happen?
So basically, the my like curiosity for the data has been very from the long time, because when I was in college, I was from the electronics background, so I didn't knew much about IT and CS field. So I was not that good in programming and all that stuff. So somewhere I managed to learn more about DBMS and SQL stuff, and I was pretty much sure that if I study this one, I will get a job in like IT. And that looks very interesting to me, like SQL and DBMS, and I was really good at it. At least from the fresher point of view, right, that time. And I cracked my interview as well. But eventually in TCS, things happen for many people. Like I was put in a support project for straight 3 years, so I was not working in SQL or a data field. So in my in the first company only, after 3 years, I got an opportunity in one of the project to work in a PL SQL and SQL. So then there my interest got in I've been looking forward to it is like some SQL or that DBMS related stuff. So I got to know in production like how things work, and based on that only I have been I got an opportunity from the second company that I joined, product based company in Noida only. So where I joined as a BI engineer there. And so I've been working in dashboarding, reporting. So there has been during that time, like I've been into the SQL, Python, and that analytics profile, dashboarding and stuff. So I was always curious, when I was doing some kind of analytics in my project. So I was always been curious, like how things work in background whenever I was in whenever I was stuck in somewhere in some situation and I was not able to backtrack the things. I was always curious to know like how things really works in a real sense. If I will be able to backtrack things, so it will be more easy for me to understand this my field as well. Analytics will be much more easier if I understand the background of it. So that curiosity of knowing the data engineering stuff, how it works. And obviously there were a lot of buzz around the data engineering, and obviously the compensation of everything's eventually led me to choose this field and explore more about it. So yeah, that's the first time that I was very serious about it, that I want to pursue further into this and let's explore this one. Yeah.
Now, like, you have moved to Sweden and recently got a senior D position as well in Daniel Wellington. So how challenging this journey was for you, like moving from India to abroad, a fair new country, new place, right? Probably not sure you know people there or not. So
Yeah.
how difficult that journey was, and what kind of difficulties you face in order to just let's say get your first interview call, I can say, in the foreign
Yeah.
country.
So yeah, so Definitely, it was very challenging and it was frustrating as well. Let me be very clear about it. So we landed up like in Sweden in March. So I got an residence work permit here along with my wife. She got an opportunity here. So for a short term goal, I joined one of the project in the company. After getting the resident work permit here, and so I got an opportunity for short term. So but eventually I was looking for like a real time data engineering role here only. So basically I was interested into that and I was looking forward to, and day and night I used to discuss with my wife, I want to do this and pursue this data engineering stuff, and this is very going to be very challenging. See, this is the new country and I don't know the people. I don't know how the interview process goes and how the interview will go, whether they will be considering me, because I had zero experience in data engineering. I had no clue what to study, how to study, because I have been doing things like I have been studying Spark and reading about it, but that was bit in pieces, pieces. And I was not sure, zero experience and you want to pursue something, but I was very adamant I want to do it. So basically initially I started applying for the jobs here. Apart from my job, I've been doing the 9 to 5 job, I started applying for other jobs, data engineering stuff. So for the initial 1 to 2 months I was not getting any calls. So I reached out to my friends who was been working in some other companies in India as a data engineer, and please help me in improving my resume so that I can get the calls. After working for 1 2 months on this, getting no calls, applying to many companies around here in Sweden, each and every company. So I managed to get the calls after fixing my resume. But whenever I was getting the calls from after fixing my resume, working on it, I was not able to crack the companies because I had zero experience. I was afraid to tell I have zero experience. How to showcase your experience, right? You don't have anything and you can't claim on it. You have mentioned something in your resume and you really can't claim on it. So I was getting rejected continuously, after getting the calls as well. So by that time, I was figuring out I want to learn more about this field and more tech stack, and then I will be applying for these jobs, and I will be looking forward to it. First learn the things and then I will be applying. So I was continuous 9 to 5. I was doing my job. Then I somehow managed to look for some different courses online. So I've been following you so since long. So one day it was bumped up you were launching your first boot camp. So I discussed it with my wife I want to do it and I'm not really sure how much, it's a great concern. In the starting you don't want to put huge amount of money into something. So I just discussed with her and just the course seems aligned to me and I can go for it. She says if you want to do it, we can do it. So 9 to 5 I was doing a job, and in the morning I used to wake up because I wanted to do it, right? It was my intention that I want to do into engineering and I had no clue. So it was really frustrating as well. But yeah, I used to wake up at 5 in the morning and give it 2 hours for the studies, then packing my bags for my 9 to 5 job, and then again coming home and then working for another 2 hours. Apart from the office I used to work 4 hours during the boot camp, and and work on the assignments and submit, and see how things are progressing. And eventually for 3 months I have been really consistent, and within those 3 months I had that knowledge that I am able to crack now. Obviously I have been failed in many attempts and many companies, but yeah, eventually I was able to crack one offer, and eventually 2 3 4 offers were in pipeline. So I was able to crack 2 3 offers by the end of the bootcamp was ended, within starting my journey on the 6th June I remember, and around on 6th of November I joined, and within 4 months I cracked 2 offers in Sweden. So yeah, it was hell of a journey, but it was really worth of it. Yeah.
And interesting thing about Shekhar, he was very consistent, as he said, and he attended every single class, asking questions, right? Very attentive in the class, and you were the first one also to get placed from the batch one itself. So I know, right, what you have gone through and difficulties you face. I know we discuss a lot time in one-on-one that how to crack this type of question, right? What should be my answer and all that prep. As you mentioned, that transition from the BI to the data engineering. So BI role, although things are overlapping between Ds and BIs, maybe few things, but how did you make this successful transition? What probably, or I can say, what kind of core D skills actually helped you to get shortlisted for the interviews, and probably most common asked thing in the Sweden different companies when you were applying? So how you actually made this BI to data engineering transition successful? What all things you prepared?
So yeah, I was already working as a BI engineer. So there, my prime area of work was related to SQL and a bit of Python. So I was really not into other stuff like cloud or distributed processing, everything. So because I had a idea about SQL and Python, so I was pretty much decent with it. But the more things that I had to prepare for this to crack the data engineering role, to learn about the distributed processing, be it Hadoop or a Spark, or at least for a batch processing, at least, Spark for batch processing, not if even not for the real time streaming. So yeah, that was one of the key skills that I had to undergo and like learn. One more thing was that it cloud, any of the cloud service that clouds like cloud platform, you have to learn. And apart from that, like for a scene to cracking a senior data engineering role, so one and the foremost thing that was really important to crack one was the data modeling and data warehousing stuff. So because things minutely changes from from data engineering role to a senior data engineering role, and this is the one key that you should be very good at it, and you should be able to express your views on it to the interviewers that you are a senior data engineer and you are really good at data modeling and data. So apart from SQL and Python, you can say like distributed processing, Spark, and any cloud. So I learned AWS BootCAMP, and obviously data modeling and data warehousing. So these were the five major key skills that we really focused on. So if we talk about the interviews and interview process, so these are the mainly things that have been asked, like bit and pieces. Like some companies were really focused on AWS side or cloud side, some companies were focused on Spark side. But every company who were like every good company in Sweden who was looking for a data engineer, they were focusing too much on this data modeling and data warehousing stuff. So you should have been like, this portion looks very small while you are preparing for this stuff, like okay, I will do this case study and will be done. But it's not like that. You need to be prepared very well, and lot of interviews goes around that only.
For the senior D role, can you pinpoint the actual expectation in terms of the responsibilities? And also, since you have given many interviews, if you have to give a summary of the interview process for senior D role in the Sweden or companies at abroad. So in general, how many rounds are gonna be there, and in each round, what type of in general topics the companies will focus on? So that would be helpful for the people who are preparing.
Yeah, so talking about most of the companies in Europe or Scandinavian countries, so one thing that is prime, they really focus upon, like as per my experience, I have been interviewing for so many companies. So if I have to summarize it, like for senior data engineering role, you need to be very good at your soft skills. So these skills are really important, and they are not being taught in any of the courses or whatever. So but these, you need to be really focused on your soft skill first of all, because you have to deal with the customer or client or different people from different countries in, like especially here. So you need to be very good at it. So first thing, soft skill. Second thing is that data modeling and data warehousing is a key skills that they are looking for. Like at least if you are a senior engineer, senior data engineer, this is the thing that you need to have for a data like senior role. So these are the two things that are prime focus. And apart from this, if we are looking for opportunity, if anyone is looking for an opportunity here, so the whole interview process start differently. Like here we start with the first, usually the company take a hiring manager round in the starting. The very first round will be the hiring manager round. So the set of questions will be like, it depends on the hiring manager whether he or she will be asking you the behavioral question or something, or like based on your soft skills only. In a situation, if given to you this, what will you do this, and that kind of stuff. If you happen to be in this situation in a project, what will you do and how will you tackle it? Those kind of questions they will ask you. And apart from that, they can ask you, like hiring manager can ask you like some technical question, very basic technical questions around your technology. and based on that only you will proceed with your like interview process. So in most of the countries, I would say in most of the good companies in Europe, I have interviewed for. So 90% of the companies, the first round was from the hiring manager only. Then moving on to the next step, it was like a technical round basically. So it is like hiring manager along with the technical lead or technical manager. They will like technical lead or manager will, they both will come and interview on your technical skills. And though usually the first round goes for 30 minutes and second round goes for like 1 hour or maybe 75 minutes or 65 minutes, whatever it is. So based on that core technical skills, like as we have already mentioned, these are the skills we need to focus upon, and they will ask you question on that and ask you your interview experience and how challenging your project has been and how you have done, how much data you have been processing, whatever the general stuff. So then after that, they really focused on all the good companies. They given me a case study regarding the data warehousing, data modeling, and they will give you a certain scenario and they will give you certain data, and based on your knowledge and the key skills, you have to design a pipeline from starting from like fetching the data from the sources and then loading into a data warehouse and then creating a dashboard out of it. So they in the third round, that is the thing that is given to you, and you have to submit that case study like within 5 or 7 days or so. And so after that, will be a fourth round that will be the more of a discussion, 60 to 70% discussion about that case study, what you have implemented and like how you have implemented and why you have implemented this. So that's why I was focusing more about data modeling and data warehousing stuff. And if you manage to impress those people and you convince those people, yeah, you know the right skill, they will hire you. So this is the third step here. You're getting the case study for this, and after 7 days like or so, you will have a fourth round, like the last round discussion about that case study, and 70% or 60-70% around that only. And further, if they have some other questions related to technology or something, and so that 30% and 40% goes to that. And like these are the four rounds that you have to tackle in almost every good company here, like 90%. And then there's a HR round. They will if everything goes well here, like, so that is the case. So
at least in India, right? Even if I go for the data engineering interview having 7-8 years of experience, there are still companies who will focus on not hardcore DSA, but okay, can you solve this problem probably with Scala, with Python, etc. So do companies out there in abroad, Europe, focus on that programming questions in the interviews or take home assignments, something?
So a home assignment is very common in data engineering, for at least for a senior data engineering role. So they have a home assignment, but in some of the companies, like during the second round, like I was like after the hiring manager round, you have a technical round. In that, they happen to give you 2-3 problem statement from basic or to medium DSA problems, and you can, like, if you have really prepared for it like, up to medium level, you will definitely do it, and they can meanwhile help you on the same way. Like it's not like a full-fledged one interview separate round, not like that way. But yeah, eventually they will ask you 2-3 question at least. But if that thing doesn't happen in at that stage, this will be subsequently come into the last stage, like after when there's a discussion around your case study, then 30-40 of the time will go into other stuff and this coding stuff. So there will be questions around it, but not that much. They will be like focusing more about, like, you are an engineer senior role and you will be focusing more modeling stuff, but eventually you have to prepare the DSA as well, but not to a pro level, but at least medium, at least to a medium level. Yeah. So
many people might have a same journey like you. So how did you tackle projects related thing in your resume? Because as you mentioned, no like practical experience in the data engineering. So how did you manage that portion in resume? What was your approach of creating effective resume so that it can get shortlisted in maximum number of companies? That's gonna be important for these people.
yeah, sure. So as you already know, I was in the same space that when I was discussing it with you, like, I don't have any experience in this field and data engineering, so I'm not aware, like, how to showcase my projects and how much, like, what I have been doing. So the clear approach that I can suggest to the people like is that like what I followed, and it pretty much works for me. Like I've been doing case studies, and I've been doing stuff like different projects during our boot camp. So I had done that in a like very like strict and like in that manner, and I studied things really well on that front. And eventually I have discussed it with my friends as well, those who are already working into a data engineering. So taking the domain knowledge from them, okay, the how much data they have been like processing in their day-to-day life, and taking that knowledge from them, from my friends or colleagues, and taking these things that I have been learning new into a data engineering bootcamp. So combining these two things together, like I build my own projects and showcase them in a resume to get it shortlisted. And apart from this, getting the knowledge from the domain perspective or data perspectives, let's say I have been processing 1 GB data or like in 10 GB data, whatever it is, you have to be really sure, and like you should be able to convince it. So you should have a both knowledge, domain and data, like how your project is working and like how it is like going data from one place to another. So you need to be very sure about it. While explaining, you don't have to tell like you have been processing 100 GBs of data or like 200 GBs. It doesn't go that way. They are not interested in like looking for a person who can process the 100 GBs of data. And this is a curiosity that every engineers do have when they are preparing for data engineering roles. That is the same feeling that I already had. So you need to be very sure, like the skill, and you need to be very sure like this much of amount of data we can really process by this way, so that go that way. Apart from that, when it comes to a like interview and to get the maximum number of job opportunity or ways, so one thing I did like that pretty like that works really well. So like despite like mentioning like I have been processing this data to store in the Snowflake, you have to mention some keywords like so like key data as well. Like if you have like you mention like I have processed 10 GBs of data, let's say X GBs of data, so that will catch the attention of the interviewer, right? So whenever you have a like you will get more calls if you put those keywords and key data into your resume. And whenever you are facing an interviewer, and if you are able to convince them with the knowledge that you have gained from different sources, so if you are able to manage or convince them, so it is good for you. Like it is a you have to build a resume in a way that it can catch the attention, and second is to like you have to convince. So it goes both ways. You need to put things in your resume and obviously work on it. Then only you can convince the interviewer. So it will take lots of efforts, but eventually if you are learning the things, it will eventually come to an end.
Shekhar, now let's discuss something about the salary part itself, because in India we know right at different experience level what sort of average packages we can crack in India itself. So what about the abroad, Europe? So how much companies are paying on an average for the senior data engineer role?
So it is pretty much decent. Like for a senior data engineer, I won't say, because it depends on your like in your experience as well, in your knowledge level as well. Not specifically talking about senior role or something, or a engineer role, but I would love to talk about like experience, like from 4 to or 7 to 8 years of experience. If you are having this much of experience in this field, so it is roughly around, not speaking about like exact thing that you are getting, but yeah, roughly around like 50 to 50 lakhs in rupees, in Indian rupees, you will get here. And on top of that, like there are certain things like education, health, and the pension and insurance that is top up by the government, and you don't really have to think about it on that. And this is surplus of that package that you are getting. So this is roughly around 50 to 55, and these are surplus.
We have done like all the necessary discussion which we wanted. So just a last question probably I want to ask, and that would be the end of podcast as well. So any important suggestion you would like to give to the folks who are moving abroad from India and doing the job hunting, specifically in our domain, data domain? Anything just you feel that, okay, I personally want to share with these people, what would be that?
So the key skills that we have really focused on is, it goes the same way, like the things that we have been doing in India, the same way it goes here, but the interview process is altogether different. But that one thing that you need to really focus on your core concepts. Like it's not that way you will be asked like Spark question or AWS question or in depth is like that. Sometimes they will ask you so like lame question you won't be able to answer. Like so you need to be really you need to be really strong in your course, like a core basics. And obviously and apart, so that is the one thing they really focus like on the basic things, really like too much into it. Like you have an interview where they will be asking you 30% very basic, 40% very basic question, and eventually the level of the interview will increase. It will be not like that. They will ask you that certain level of question. It will be again from the zero to high, that this way they go in the interview process. And apart from like those who are looking for an opportunity, especially in these European countries and especially in these Scandinavian countries around this Sweden. So from like as far as the things that I have that worked for us is that people can always look for opportunities in these countries on the LinkedIn. That is the best platform. They have put, like people just put out the opportunities that they have in their company, and you can just ping them over there, and you have it their contact details. You can contact them and you can just ask them if you are there able to sponsor your visa for these countries. And if you are there good with it and you are able to crack the interviews, they will be happy to hire you. There is no doubt in that. So you have to really be focused and really approaching people in terms of that. You can't really apply for jobs, 10 jobs abroad, and you will seek for a call from a recruiter. They will call you to India, like you will get a job, we are interviewing. No, you have to reach out to them, and eventually if they have a possibility, they can offer you a valid visa or something. Then there is no issue, you can get one, because we have got one. So yeah, that's what I could say. Like anyone can get it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shekhar, for joining us today and sharing all this insightful information, because this was very much needed for my audience. They were waiting for such type of podcast, and they also wanted to listen a story of someone who has joined our boot camp and actually saw the impact out of it. But your journey itself, right, even before joining the boot camp, you had already done a lot of hustle. So hats off to that one, and keep working hard in your domain. I know you are very serious what you actually do, and you are really passionate about it. So thank you so much from my side and from this audience side. All your thoughts, insights are gonna help them a lot, that I can say for sure.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shashank. It would have been possible without you. So yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
So that is what I had in this amazing podcast. I'm pretty sure you would have enjoyed this one and loved the information shared by Shekhar. If yes, you find it informative, make sure to share it and make sure to like it in the big numbers so that we can spread the words. And you can let me know in the comment section that which country you are planning to move and where you are hunting for the data engineering related job opportunities. And again, don't forget to visit www.growdataskills.com, where there are no fake promises and no rosy picture, pure upskilling. And if you want to become a top-notch industry data professional, then GrowDataSkills is the one-stop solution for you. And don't forget to fill out the Google form given in the description, because soon you will be notified for the AWS Data Engineer Bootcamp. So I will see you guys really soon with another amazing video. Till then, just keep exploring data.